incredible way of helping people. And we're so honored and grateful to have her as one of our coaches in our community. So with that, make sure you click the link at the top. Crystal Laura's already changed it over, and we will see you all at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Crystal Laura, are you there?
Woo-hoo! Hello, happy Monday. Oh my gosh, Rachel and Becca, you are incredible. You have changed my life and my business, and I just want to thank you so much. I know I came in at the tail end, but I have no doubt you delivered incredible value on brand awareness and leveling up our business and our life, especially this year, because so much has changed. And there's so much going on in the world that there's a lot of noise, right? And so we have to stay focused, we have to stay in community, and we have to keep moving, and we have to keep moving forward with intention, with deliberate action, daily consistent action. So thank you so much, Rachel and Becca, for the awesome intro. Oh my gosh, it literally has been such a blessing to be a part of your world and a part of this amazing community. So speaking of community, Breakfast with Champions, you're in this house. This is amazing. So make sure you hit the share button below. If you're new to Clubhouse, welcome to the party. You're in great hands. Check at the bottom of your screen, you should have a box with an upward arrow to be able to share on your social media, on Twitter, in the room, in Clubhouse. Send it via text. Get people in here because you're not going to want to miss this last segment of Breakfast with Champions. So for those of you who are new to my world and you have not heard my voice yet, I am Crystal Laura Cruz with the Cruz Coach and Cruz Beyond Limits Consulting. I'm a life, a fitness, and business accelerator, and I am on a mission to empower every person on the planet, put themselves first for 34 minutes a day. Yes, just 34 minutes a day, just to start, all right? So we can reduce the stress, the overwhelm, the stressors of life, because if we stay stuck, we're not going anywhere, right? So we have to get out of our ways sometimes. And with that comes deliberate action and intention and goal setting. And I know that Jen's amazing mastermind is going to do that here at 1 o'clock. But I want to dive into one of my favorite topics to train on, and really is the foundation of everything that I do and all of the programs. I know Rachel, you're in the Ab Challenge, you're in a lot of the programs that I've gone through or that I've built. And the foundation is emotional intelligence. So studies show that as humans, we go through a range of emotions throughout the day. High emotions, low emotions, neutral, right? So they're not good and bad, they're high and low. So we go through ranges throughout the day based on the triggers and the things that happen in our life. So studies show that we go through at least 400 emotions throughout the day. Someone cuts you off, your kids are screaming, road rage is a huge one, dealing with stressors in your life, in your business, and then also in your fitness and in your health. So I want to walk you through the 4 main categories of emotional intelligence, because this is truly a foundation of everything that we do. And if you can build your emotional intelligence skill, because it is a skill, it's something that we're constantly working at. All right, so it's different than your IQ. Your IQ really doesn't stop growing after the age of 18. Okay, so our life has been formed. Our IQ really doesn't change much as an adult. But what's cool is the number one thing that we can change is our emotional intelligence and how we grow as a leader of our life. Maybe you're a leader of your household, or maybe you're a manager in an office somewhere. Maybe you're a leader in your church or a volunteer group, or maybe in your business. But you have to step into the CEO version, the leader in your life. You are the main character. And so life is going to happen. There's going to be a range of things that are going to get thrown at us. I just received a text message literally 10 minutes ago. And my emotions went a little haywire because I was not very happy with the response that I received, right? And so instead of letting that control me and go on an emotional rampage and throw things and get angry, I have developed emotional intelligence skills to remain grounded and to remain focused and to remain calm amidst the crisis. Okay, so this is something that I've been working on deliberately in the last really 6 years. And it's once I started recognizing my brain and how it works and how I can manage my emotions so I can effectively move forward, not only in my business, but in my fitness, in my goals, in my career, but also in my relationships with others. And one of the things that a lot of my clients hear me say, if you've been in my world, we're not meant to do this life alone. So we have two main relationships in our life. The relationship that we have with ourselves, the longest conversation, the longest relationship is the one that we have with ourselves. The biggest muscle, yes, I'm a fitness coach too. The biggest muscle that we work in any of my programs, it's not burpees. It's not push-ups. It's not an ab challenge. It's the self-doubt that's between our ears that we work the most. So this is part of emotional intelligence. And people always say, Crystal, how do you do so much? How do you have so much energy? And you've been through so much pain and trauma and things in your life. How do you stay so grounded and calm? This, my dears, is emotional intelligence. So I want to walk you through the 4 main categories of emotional intelligence. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually a leadership consultant. I'm a certified emotional intelligence coach and facilitator. So I actually travel around the country to teach this course. So I have a range of different courses that I offer, but I actually teach this to teams in corporations, in the military, in government entities. And I also do this online. And it is a foundation of all the programs that I offer in the Cruise Beyond Limits world. So it is paramount in anything that we do, right? So a lot of times when we can do this work on ourselves, we can help other people because we can see how our emotions and how we can build skills and tools to be able to move forward. Okay, so I'm going to dive in. What I was going to say was, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm human, right? And this is part of the emotional intelligence journey, is that self-talk when things go wrong. What are you going to do? And who needs you at 100%? Even the best speakers still have self-doubt. The best athletes still deal with this internal struggle of that little voice inside of our head. Okay, so I have a variety of different programs and offerings, but this emotional intelligence, I'm going to give you a quick snapshot here today. And then this is going to be a series. Okay, so I'm going to continue this conversation as I unpeel the layers of emotional intelligence. Now there's 4 main categories, and we're really only going to focus on one today. So the first one is leading yourself through self-awareness. Okay, so when we lead ourselves, like I said, we can recognize the things and the triggers and what's happening inside our body and our brain, the only place that we get to live in, right? The longest conversation, the longest relationship we have is the one that we have with ourselves. So that's step 1, self-awareness. And we're going to dive into the main components of self-awareness here today. Step 2, the second component, is self-management. So that's recognizing when we process our emotions, what actions occur as a result of those thoughts and feelings and beliefs, and the self-talk of what happens between our ears. Okay, so self-management is, if you all know what your filter is, we have triggers and things that happen, and it goes through all up through our nervous system. From the back of the brain, it processes, and then it goes from the back of the brain to the front of the brain so fast. Every single thing that we consume is through this process through our brain. And I don't want to get super geek. It's called your filter, right? So we have this whole process of emotional intelligence where emotion meets your reasoning, which creates the action in your body, which tells the brain to move your mouth or to move your hands or not, right? So implementing that filter in this process and building the tools and the skill, that's self-management. And that's also how we blow off steam, okay? So that's going to be the next series. So that's huge, especially when it comes to health and wellness and meditation and building all the other tools. But first we have to recognize ourselves. So like I said, there's two main components when it comes to emotional intelligence as far as relationships are concerned. There's a relationship with yourself, that internal personal competence, and then there's your version of that relationship with the rest of the world. And I think for many of my clients that I talk to that reach like their 30s, they're like, holy crap, it's not just about me anymore. I'm actually a leader. I'm a role model. I'm a CEO. I need to interact with other people. I can't do this alone anymore. I don't want to. I want to connect with more humans. And so what happens, especially since COVID, we've had to get creative and deliberate in our communication. And there's been a lot of barriers to communication. A whole nother course that I teach is effective communication, right? And learning about temperaments and communication styles. So the third component of emotional intelligence is a social awareness. So recognizing what's being said and then also what's not being said, the body language, how you can adapt to understand other people's perspectives. And this is where empathy is born. So recognizing that you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, and maybe you haven't gone through something that they've gone through, but you can sit with them and listen instead of being in blame and shame and like judgment, right? So social awareness is really key and crucial in a lot of relationships, in everything that we do. It's how you present yourself. It's your energy. And then the main goal of this is to connect with other humans in positive, flourishing relationships and recognizing the relationships that we have in our life. So the fourth component is relationship management. So that's the end goal, is putting all of this together to build and cultivate relationships, and also recognize when someone or something in your life is sucking you dry of all things holy. And not everyone and everything is meant to be in our life forever. So this is all part of this emotional intelligence journey. It is the foundation of everything that I do. So I want to go back to the beginning. The main component of this is self-awareness. Okay, so we're going to start there. It starts with you. Okay, and I know Trent Shelton says this a lot. He's been one of my biggest mentors and guide and tour guides of life, especially amidst of all the things that I've been through. It all starts with you. And I truly believe that. So when we can look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, what role do I play in this? Struggles are happening in your life. Things are happening in your business. It's not going as fast as we want to. We have spaghetti brains, so much overwhelm and stress and anxiety, or maybe depression. There's a lot that's going on in our emotional being. And sometimes we need to stop and pause and take a look in the mirror and do some of this work. And it starts with you and your self-awareness. So there's four main categories or components that I want to take you through when it comes to self-awareness. 4 things for us to consider. So if you're taking notes, we're talking about emotional intelligence. There's 4 main components, but there's a personal competence. That's your self-awareness and your self-management. And then there's a social component to this, because we're human beings. We're not human doings. We're meant to be connected. All right. So we have a personal competence and a social component. Okay. So the social component is your social awareness and your relationship management. And I'm going to take you through just the first component here today, and that's self-awareness. And we're going to go through 4 main topics with regards to self-awareness. So I know I can talk a lot. I get very passionate. I've been doing this a long time. My courses range from 1 hour to 40 hours on these topics. So if you think Clubhouse only gives me 53 minutes before I have to close this room, okay? So just know I'm very passionate, and I really love to break this down for my clients. I love to break this down for classes so that we can understand ourselves at a deeper level, so we can move the needle with the goals and aspirations and dreams and the things that we want to achieve in our life. This is the magic. And so when I say I want to empower everyone to put themselves first for 34 minutes a day, it starts with you and self-awareness. It starts with reflection. Okay, so the first 2 minutes of every single day, have some self-reflection. All right, 2 minutes of journaling, gratitude, intentions, time block, 30 minutes of movement, and then 2 minutes of reflection in the evening. So everyone always asks me, Crystal, 34 minutes, where does this come from? All right, it's a start of putting yourself first in deep reflection and true time with yourself each and every single day. It's 2% of your day. Every person on the planet has 1,440 minutes in each day to do whatever they dream and desire with, whether it's sleep, family, business, relationships, fitness, hydration, nutrition, all the things, right? We balance all these things at any given time. If you were to give yourself 34 minutes in one day, imagine. Some people give 0. Some people are completely depleted. All right, 34 minutes. Imagine what you could do. It's just a start. Okay, so this is my message and my mission for you. Okay, so start with reflection. Give yourself the 30 minutes of movement at least. And if you don't have 30, give yourself 5, 10, 15, 20. My programs give a lot of different options to meet you where you're at. But 5 is better than 0. 30 is better than 0. So part of self-awareness is doing this reflection. So step 1, reflect, look in the mirror. It takes an honest conversation with yourself to say, self, where am I right now? And where do I need to go? And what's missing? Okay. So I offer a variety of different tools and resources. If you're not sure where you need to start, it starts with reaching out for help and asking for a conversation. Okay. Side note, I'm kicking off a 6-month holistic life program. It's called the $1 Million Body Academy, where we go through this in deep detail, okay, over the next 6 months. And we have some incredible ladies that are kicking this off. So if you're like really not sure where to start, this is a beautiful time for you to hop in and just kick this year off right. Okay. So step 1, reflect, have a conversation, journal it out. You don't need a fancy journal. Yes, I published one. It's on Amazon. If you want the link, I can share it. But get out a notebook and just say, where am I right now? Score yourself. For those of you who know, like I teach vision board workshops too. I facilitate these discussions to help us reflect on a deep level, to be honest, have an honest conversation with yourself. Self, how's it going? And I'm a CEO of my business. I have to hold myself accountable. I have to have CEO conversations with myself. And at the end of each day, I say, how intentional was I? Score of 1 to 5. Did you drink your water? Did you do your workout? Did you do everything you said you were going to do? Would you fire yourself at the end of each day? If you were your own boss. I get to be my own boss. It's a beautiful thing. But it also is very hard throughout the day to hold yourself accountable. So I've had to develop some tools and some things in my life to be able to reflect and assess myself to see where I'm going. Okay. So it's a constant reflection. And then at the end of each day, we're like, okay, how did we do? What can we do differently? What got in the way? What's tomorrow look like? Let's set ourselves up for success. And sometimes that's giving grace and celebrating too, each day, the small movements that get us just a little bit further, just a little bit stronger than yesterday, a little bit further than yesterday, even if it's one thing. Okay, so let's break this down one day at a time. And if we skip over the reflection part at the end of the day, we just keep going and going and going and going. And for those of you who know my story, I'm a marathon runner. I've run 26 marathons in a 50-mile race after being in a wheelchair for 6 months. And there were many times that I never stopped to celebrate. I never stopped to reflect. And I kept judging and wondering why I wasn't this far along. It's no longer. Okay, so step 1, intentions, reflections. All right, assess yourself. This is part of the self-awareness journey. Okay, number 2, recognize that we are going to have a range of emotions throughout the day. When you're when you know, I think it was someone on Clubhouse a couple weeks ago, I was running, listening to the morning show, and someone said, we really only have, studies show the highest, most successful entrepreneurs, the most successful athletes really only have 56 good days in a year. 56. So when we can recognize that every day isn't going to be sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies, and we can accept that challenge is going to come in the way, obstacles are going to come in the way, you're going to get triggered, you're going to get challenged, you're going to be tested. This is part of the cruise beyond the limits way. We know who we are. We set goals. We know where we're going, and we know that we are going to be challenged, especially just before you're about to level up, especially just after you say that you're going after that big, audacious, bodacious goal or business or fitness goal. Things are going to get thrown in your way, and it's going to check you. So recognize that you're going to have a range of emotions throughout the day. Once you accept that, you're like, okay, this is part of the process. And recognize when you're feeling these emotions, we feel them in our body first. Okay, so when I feel overwhelmed, when I feel nervousness, like even right now, I'm sweating, right? Some of you on Clubhouse, you can't see me. In my Facebook community, y'all can see me. Yeah, I'm wearing this awesome leopard sweater, all fancy here today, but you can't see that I'm sweating. My palms are sweating. Sometimes we can see the vein through your forehead. Sometimes we can see the vein coming out of your neck or the redness in your face. And if someone's upset, you can physically see like steam coming out of your ears. All right. So part of self-awareness is recognizing, okay, when I'm faced with adversity, when I'm nervous, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm excited, because that's the same part of the brain, right? We process happiness and sadness and anger and shame. All of this is all happening, snaps all the time, all day long. But when we can recognize what our body does and literally map it out, and this is what I help people do, is recognize in your body, in your life, because I can tell you all day long what happens to me. But we're all human, we're walking hearts and minds, and we all go and grow through life and challenges. We're all going through something. So we're all being constantly tested and triggered, and we're all walking ball of emotions. Even those, I deal with high-level military men that say that they're not emotional. Guess what? We're all emotional creatures, all right? Even if you call yourself not emotional, you're just probably better at managing it or compartmentalizing. That's a whole nother topic, okay? So when we think about our emotions, we need to know deeply in our body what is going to trigger us and how do we react. I was on vacation with my mom and a couple ladies last week in Florida a couple weeks ago, and I can't tell you how many times it actually started as a joke. You can't, if what's on your face, if all of your emotions are on your face, there were some times throughout the week I was like, fix your face, fix your face. We had to say it because literally if looks could kill, everything, the facial expressions, you could see every single emotion, every range of emotion, every eye roll, every happiness, every excitement moment, right? And so this is part of your self-awareness, is recognizing what your body does under stress and pressure and excitement. The range of emotions, not just the negative emotions or the lower emotions, the high ones too. Because what happens, especially as business owners, I know this as an entrepreneur, especially as creators and creative brains and managers and leaders, we have to recognize that our body and our nervous system is going to go up, down, all around. It's going to feel very like chaotic. And who needs you at 100%? The people in your life, the people around you need you at 100%. They want you to be predictable, and they want you to be trustworthy. They don't want you flying off the handle and wondering which version of your emotions is going to get the best of you today. So part of being a leader and leading yourself through this self-awareness is recognizing what's triggering you, how your body reacts to it, how do you feel it in your body, and how can we manage it in a positive way so that, it's like the little ducky, right? The duck is paddling under the water like a million miles a minute, but it's gliding on top. Okay, so if you were to think about your biggest hero or a mentor in your life, someone you admire. I'm out of water, so I'm like dry now. Sorry. That's self-awareness. Gosh, I know that when I talk a lot, I get dry mouth. So I'm almost done here. So if you were to think about your biggest mentor, your biggest supporter, someone you look up to, how do they handle stress and adversity? How do they react? Okay, so that recognize, how do they process their emotions? Right? Typically the people that lash out, that yell, that hit things, that explode, that have what we call emotional hijacks, that don't stop and process and consider the first, second, third order effects of their actions. Those aren't the people that we look up to. Those are the ones we learn from, because we learn from the good leaders and also the not so good leaders. Sometimes we learn more from the not so good leaders, like, ooh, I don't want to be like that person, right? So number one, recognize your goals. Number two, recognize you have emotions and a range of them. Start to capture, okay, this is a bad emotion. How am I feeling right now? Sit with yourself, okay? This is all self-awareness. I know I'm getting deep in the weeds, but I want you to understand this, okay? So the third component of self-awareness is recognizing your values. What drives you? What's your North Star? What are your values? What's your value word? What are you going after? What's your mission statement? So I value fitness, mindset and confidence, and community. Those are my three pillars of everything that I do, everything I talk about. It surrounds mental and physical fitness, your mindset and your confidence, and the community that you surround yourself with, relationships. So you basically, if you meet me, if you're in person, whether you're on a Zoom, that's basically my jam. That's my mission. That's my vision. Those are my values. Everything I do surrounds those three things. And that helps guide me. It helps me say no to the things that don't serve me. It helps me stay in alignment with my dreams and goals and aspirations and who I want to surround myself with. So this is huge, because if you're out of alignment with your values, it feels icky. And you're like, ooh, I got an email this morning. I woke up to an email. Hey, can you come speak at this conference? It's this huge conference in Vegas. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Let me think about this. Let me see, does this organization align with my values? Is this the right audience for me? This is part of self-awareness, so that we're not shiny object things, reaching at things just cause. But if we don't do this work and recognizing, okay, what are our filters? What are our boundaries? What are our values? And putting it through this filter, then we can make better decisions and we can manage our time, because time is so precious. And remember, we only have 1,440 minutes in a day. So this is a really great tool to have in your tool belt. This can guide you. And how many of you have, I know I felt it. I've gone after things. I've said yes to things that aren't in alignment. And then I kick myself and I'm like, shoot, why did I do that? All right, let me check myself. Next time, let's learn. That's part of the reflection. Okay, how do we do? What got in the way? Did we get excited about something that wasn't in alignment? And we said yes to something and then we're kicking ourselves? We learn and then we pivot and we reflect and we say, what can we do differently tomorrow? And then we move. Okay. So this is all part of the self-awareness. See, the wheels are turning. Many times, I can't tell you how many people reach out to me and they're like, Crystal, I want to lose weight. I want to fit in my wedding dress. Oh my gosh, I have a cruise in 3 weeks. What can I do quickly? I want to reach for that next fad diet, that quick fix. I'm telling you, if you don't do this work internally, you can reach for everything and all these things on the outside. And I just want to tell you, it starts with you. a lot of this starts with you. I help a lot of women, whether it be in recovery from addiction, food addiction, sugar addiction, relationships, toxic relationships. It's all starts with our emotions and our relationship, our healthy relationship with the emotions that we have, the healthy or unhealthy relationship, and how we process. So these are the habits, right? So once you recognize that this is part of the process, we know we have big goals. We have to set values in a filtering system so that we can set proper boundaries, which is huge part of the $1 Million Body Academy. Huge is setting boundaries. But first, before we get into nutrition, before we get into the confidence piece, we have to know who we are and what's our filtering system, what's our mission, what's our vision, what are we going after, what are we saying yes to, what do we need to say no to, how are we going to manage this? And then the last piece, the fourth component of this, is feedback. So we gather feedback from other people, we get in community, we ask for feedback. So as a leadership consultant, I travel around and I help leaders. I do assessments on people. I do 360-degree leadership assessments, and I'm a certified coach. I'm a leadership coach as well. So I actually coach to those results. So we ask for feedback. How are we doing? I had a call with my team this morning. Said, how am I doing? What can I do differently? How can I improve? What's missing? I'm constantly looking for that blind spot, that missing link to improve so I can be better tomorrow, so I can pivot if I need to. And I help leaders do this as well. So part of self-awareness is being able to be open and vulnerable to reflect and say, okay, what's working? What's missing? How do we need to pivot? And then we move. Okay. So I'll tell you that the times I've spent, I think I've shared a lot of my story here on Clubhouse, but if you're new to my world, I've spent 6 months. 6 months is a really, really challenging time period for me. I spent 6 months in a wheelchair. At the end of my NFL career, I was an NFL cheerleader, spent 6 months in a wheelchair where they poked and prodded at me, tried to kick me out of the military, took endless amounts of medication, ended up being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, was in a toxic relationship, spent 6 months of my life in the fetal position. Fast forward, met the man of my dreams, had to move away from home, didn't have a job for 6 months. That's when I started my business. That was almost 6 years ago. I've been building an online business since 2017. It's been a beautiful journey of self-awareness. When you talk about brand strategy and confidence as an entrepreneur, it's all about self-awareness and this journey that you're on. It's a constant evolution and growth. So I spent 6 months without a job. I did some serious, deep reflection on this self-awareness journey, on this emotional intelligence journey. And then another 6 months in 2019, got diagnosed with cancer, melanoma. I had to have surgery, and I spent 6 months again without working out. And then I answered the call. I said, what can I do right now with what I've got? Let's roll up our sleeves. COVID, all the gyms shut down. I got a phone call. Hey, you teach all these boot camps, you teach these fitness courses every time you travel. And I know you do all this running. You're so awesome, blah, 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 blah. Can you teach something online? So I said, okay, self, what can I do right now with what I've got? So I was certified as a coach through freeconferencecall.com. I taught boot camps 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. every single day during COVID to men, women, children, dance camps, cheer camps throughout COVID for free, twice a day, when I wasn't even cleared by my doctor yet. I had stitches in both my arm and my leg, but that was me saying, you know what, how can I serve? Crystal, what can you do? What's going to get you back up again? How can you hold yourself accountable? How can you serve? And what can you do with what you've got? And reflect and move. So I pivoted. So that's just a brief synopsis, Clip Notes version of the 6 months. So this is why I want a shortened time period for you. I spent 18 months in the fetal position, 18 months of my life where I wasn't moving, where I wasn't in deep reflection, where I wasn't moving forward. I was staying stuck. So this is my life's purpose, to shorten this time period of that stress and overwhelm and self-doubt. and increase your confidence in your movement and ignite your fire when it's messy, when you're uncertain. Do it messy, do it ugly. It's got to get ugly. I always say that to my fitness clients. It's going to feel ugly before it gets pretty. Every single person has a first day. Every person has a first day. And every athlete, everything that we start, anything that you're good at right now, your first day was ugly. It was messy. You weren't born out of the womb an Olympic athlete. Nobody was. So it's part of the process. So recognizing being self-aware and reflecting and asking for feedback and utilizing that feedback to move forward. This is the emotional intelligence journey of self-awareness. It starts with you. So I hope I gave you some perspective here today. I'd love to pause and hear from others on stage. Feel free to, I'm going to monitor the chat, ask questions. I want to hear from some of you on stage. Let me know, what are you thinking about? What are you working on, and how can I support you? Feel free to unmic and introduce yourself, and I'd be happy to hear from a couple of you. We do have about 10 minutes before we have to close the room. So love to hear from a few of you. So what's on your mind?
Hey there, this is Stars Tina. I just got in here, but I'm loving what I'm hearing from you. And I would love for you to share a little bit. You mentioned, you said a few years you were in the fetal position and now you're moving. Can you share what got you to finally, I don't want to say wake up, but okay, I'm going to start moving now. Can you share that with us for those that may still be stuck there?
Yes, thank you, Starsina. I think, thank you for being here and thank you for unmuting. I think the biggest thing is part of the self-awareness journey is recognizing how long we need to stay in our feelings, right? And recognize that, yes, we have things that happen, whether it be stress, whether it be, an illness or an injury, or maybe a death in the family, or we're grieving from something. I think not skipping over the feeling part and sitting in our emotions, that's part of the self-management. So that kind of gets into a deeper process, but recognizing for oneself, like, hey, we need to look in the mirror and say, how long have we been here? And listen to those intuitive nudges to say, okay, when can we move? Like, let's allow ourselves some grace and space to be like, all right, let's give ourselves a week or so. Maybe let's give ourselves a deadline. So those are some tips that I've had to do. I've had to listen to some of those intuitions and say, all right, my body needs to rest right now. And I'm going to allow myself to just be in these emotions and feel them and process them and not skip over them. And then if you do that for a couple of days, perhaps, or maybe a couple of weeks, maybe it's a couple months, then it's like, okay, enough's enough. And I'll tell you, a lot of times for me, it's a screaming voice, like, okay, Crystal, enough's enough. Like, I'm sick and tired of getting sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of counting the days I wasn't crying. So, I mean, I'm always real. I'm always very authentic and vulnerable in the space. I struggled really, really deeply for way too long. But each and every time there was something that said, Crystal, this isn't the ending of your story. You got to get back up. Like, you've got to move. And so what can you do right now with what you've got? That's been the biggest question for me. It's like, okay, what can you do right now? What does your body need? Let's give it what it needs, but then let's move. And so that time period is different for everyone. And so that's part of self-awareness, is kind of thinking about, and this is what I like to help a lot of my clients with, is like, what have you been through before? Let's see what worked, what didn't work. And let's see if we can use some of that data to come up with a game plan to move forward again in this space. So I hope that answers your question. I think really just having a conversation and say, okay, how long have I been in this negative cycle that isn't serving me? That's the biggest thing too. It's like, is this energy serving me and the people around me? Because if it's not, then we need to look in the mirror and say, okay, what can we do? Who do we need to reach out to? Do we need to get help? Whether it's professional help, maybe we need to hire a coach. Maybe we just need to just get out of the house, get out in nature. That to me has been a huge win for me too. Get out of the house, get out of your element, declutter your life, declutter your office, clean something, clean up your sleep hygiene, clean up your personal hygiene, get dressed, get out of the house. I've been working from home since 2017. So I'm telling you from experience, there's some days that I didn't get out of the house. I didn't shower till 4 o'clock. Like, let's just be real. Like, there's just been some days that, but as soon as you put yourself first and you're like, okay, what do I need to be at my 100%? What can I do to move? Hopefully that can give you some answer, just one little thing. So
It does, and I'm going to go even deeper with that unless someone else has another question for you. Recently, I've been doing more deep diving into I'm sorry, I don't know your story, but it sounds like if you're in a fetal position for a long time, it's got to be pretty traumatic. And last week, Dr. Janie Lacey was talking about traumas being stuck in your body. And I've been listening to different heart coaches talking about how, for example, if your heart aches, it's hard for you to fall in love or to find a mate, or your belly hurts. Perhaps there's trauma stuck in your organs or your body that have to get out. And she mentioned a book. I actually bought the book. I haven't started it yet. Curious if you heard of this or know anything about it, agree, disagree. The book is actually called The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. I heard you say, so let me hear you, girl.
Yes. Okay. So I don't have a whole lot of time to dive into all of the stories, but the first time at the end of my NFL career, I was in a toxic relationship. And I truly believe that to this day, because as soon as I started doing this work and moving and paying attention to the way that I fuel my body, both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, that's when I healed. So I was in a wheelchair for 6 months at the end of my NFL career, diagnosed with severe rheumatoid arthritis. I could not walk. I had to take chemotherapy and injections in my legs and in my abdomen every other day while I was being emotionally and physically abused by the man that I was living with. So I felt very alone. Needless to say, it was a very traumatic time. Yes, trauma in many ways. I truly believe to this day that what happened to my body was a trauma response, that my body manifested this trauma in a physical way. Because as soon as I started moving, I started saying no to the doctors. I started getting off of the medication because they tried to kick me out of the military. The medication was disqualifying. So I had just started that. I was like, nope, that's not the ending of that story. No, there's got to be a different type of medication that I can get on. So I started speaking up for myself and advocating. I got out of that toxic relationship. I got therapy. I started learning about the tools and my confidence, building myself back up from the core, recognizing how I need to fuel my body properly to give it the proper nutrients that it deserves, give it the energy that it deserves. And I started building these tools. And then I was decreasing the medication. And then I started moving. And it took me an entire year. I got off of all the medication. And I haven't taken ibuprofen to this day. I've run 26 marathons now, 50-mile race. And I don't have those things anymore. Yes, my body has had other situations, other health challenges, but that I truly believe was a trauma response. So I truly believe that there's a lot of weight, whether it be physical weight or emotional weight, that we carry in each area of our body, depending on what's going on in our life and what we allow in. So I hope that answers a little bit of your question. It was Stars Tina. I'd love to connect with you and have a chat because it sounds like we can have some really cool conversations.
Yes, I'm loving hearing everything you're saying. When you said 20-something marathons, I did my very first the prior year, and I felt like I was a champion. But listening to you, I feel like okay, but yeah.
Okay, girl, I'm just going to stop you right there. You put one foot in front of the other. You did 26.2 miles. You are a champion. Period. End. Dot.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
when I heard people talk about the trauma being in your organs, I was like, they're just saying that. And it is, I'm healing. I think I'm going to be healing for the rest of my life. So it's good to hear other people share. I'm not crazy in this, that you have to get it out of your body. So thanks again for this segment.
Thank you. And a part of this too is recognizing, okay, so my values and my gifts are getting this out of my body, is getting this out of my brain, so I don't feel crazy. Okay. The way that I've built my brand is by speaking. So now I speak on stage. I'm here on Clubhouse every Monday, Health is Wealth. I'm live in my Facebook community right now. I travel all over to share these stories so that I can reduce the stress and overwhelm of the rest of the world. I am a messenger now. So these are my gifts. And this is part of the healing too. And I recognize, I'm self-aware to know that this is my gift and this is how I can heal as well, by sharing this and by giving this to others, to give people hope. So just exactly what you said. So you don't feel crazy. You don't feel alone like I did. I had to read Arthritis for Dummies in 2005 because I didn't have Dr. Google back then. I literally sat on my couch and had sweat, like not sweat, but salty tears all over Arthritis for Dummies. I was so alone. I had never felt so alone. So I never want that for anyone. And so that's why I do what I do. And so recognizing that if you have a gift, if you have a voice, if you've gone through something, if you have a message, you have a passion, maybe you have a business, maybe it's a business that's been tugging at you, that next level you needs you to step up. Not sit stuck, not sit in last year, not worry about the other people's opinions, not worry about staying in the fetal position. So there has to be a time where we have to move and say, what do we need to do? So this is part of the self-awareness. What can you do right now with what you've got? Listen, move. Oh, okay. Sweating. Woo, love it. Who else wants to share? We have a couple more minutes. I see Cedric here. Hello. Araya.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hey,
Great to see you here. How are you?
great hearing your voice again, and one of these days being in the same space physically again.
Yeah.
But I did want to say that I felt everything that you shared was very valuable, and so keep up the good work for sure. I'm grateful to have call you a friend and co-traveler on the path of life. So, number one, quiet for now.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And it has been such a blessing to be along this journey with you as well. Oh gosh, being in community, whether it be an online community, or if you have an opportunity to get in a room with someone, get in a Facebook room, in a Zoom room, but there's nothing like an in-person experience. Getting around someone's energy, being in that space, learning from each other, breaking bread, challenging, taking a deep dive into your life and your goals and aspirations and your values and talking about it, like getting it out. It's scary. I hosted 3 retreats in Costa Rica. I'm about to host my 4th one in May of this year. It was scary when I first put it out there, but the more we say it, the more we get in community, the more we get in rooms and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm launching a 6-month $1 million body academy. Fun fact. I literally, I'm taking 12 women for 6 months on this journey of self-awareness, deep emotional intelligence, fitness, nutrition, confidence, boundaries, relationships, everything. If you want in, we're actually doing a Q&A session tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. You're welcome to join and ask any questions if you're interested. But just before I hopped on, this is how much a range of emotions we can have in a day, right? So I got a challenging text message this morning that basically said there's a project that I have someone helping me work on, and they're not going to be done in time, and they're basically not going to meet the standards. So I was like, oh gosh, all right. So I went from low emotions to someone in my world that wants to join this program. And then they're kind of struggling and really, really needs this program. Someone else sent me a message and said, hey, I want to help them. I want to help them. So in community, bridging connections, we're going to be able to provide an opportunity for someone to join this program. And that is huge. So that's from human connection. Okay. So we have about 3 minutes left. Is there anyone else on stage that would like to speak? Share any reflections or comments or questions? Abuse, arthritis. I'm just checking the comments here. Thank you so much, Sherry, for checking that or for sharing that. Inability to move, being stuck. Yes, thank you, Crystal. It's very timely for me. You're welcome. Everything happens right on time. And that's part of my self-awareness, is staying grounded when life gets thrown, when it's all over the place, when we feel overwhelmed, when we have the challenges of life and business and things aren't going our way or they're not going fast enough, or it just feels like we're just trudging and just like in thick sand and like, it's like, why? There's a lesson, and just stay grounded and recognize that everything is happening right on time. And as long as you're heart-centered, you're doing everything that you possibly can, and you're being consistent every single day, you're moving, you're reflecting, you're giving yourself 34 minutes of time each and every day. Give yourself this gift. Put yourself first so that you can pour into everyone else and everything else. Right? Get in community, get in the rooms. So if you can't be in person, try to find it virtually. There's plenty of options. We're not meant to do this alone. So get out there, share your big, audacious, bodacious goals. Get in the right rooms with people that are going to help fuel you forward. And you'll know real quick if you're in the wrong rooms. And listen, and then pivot and move and keep finding the right ones until you don't stop until you find them. And for me, I'm here to support you. Please click the link above if you're in Clubhouse right now. Send me a message on Instagram. Please follow me. I would love to support you. If you want the link to the Q&A session tonight, we're kicking off the next $1 Million Body Academy cohort. I only do it twice a year. It's a 6-month group coaching container where we go through your nutrition, your fitness, your confidence, your relationships, your boundaries. It's a customized plan for your nutrition and your fitness to help you feel like $1 million at the end of the 6 months. We do it together. So with that, I'm going to close the room. Please send me a message if you're interested in connecting, if there's any way that I can support you. I hope this message lands with you and it gave you some tactical tips and strategies to improve your emotional intelligence, because it all starts with us, leading ourselves first so we can pour into everyone and everything else. Okay, so that's the Cruise Beyond Limits way. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for having me here today and for tuning in. If you're catching this on the replay, make sure you shout yourself out. Send me a message. Let me know what landed with you and what was your biggest takeaway. All right. I love you all. Cheers. Happy Monday. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.